Martin Gitlin.
Joined the meeting.
Hello. Hello. Hello.
Hello.
Okay.
Hey guys.
Okay.
Can you hear Cammy?
Yes, I can.
Those dulcet tones are wafting over the airwaves magically.
Hey Marty, it's supposed to snow tomorrow.
I was just gonna bring that up, and it's grim. And I looked at the weather, and the high for tomorrow is 45.
You want to reschedule again?
Abso-fucking-lutely.
That's kind of what I was thinking.
Yeah, plastic bags on all the flower pots.
Yeah, might not be a good day in Leadville.
Yeah, no, it won't be a good day in Leadville. It might not. I mean, it'll be a nice day to go, if it was safe to go have a good breakfast in Summit County when we decided that the weather sucked. But as far as, I totally support staying home. I mean, I even just started a little fire.
There you go. That'll work.
Hopefully it wasn't like to burn down the house.
We'll talk about it tomorrow when you come over and pick up your truck. I'll have it done hopefully in the afternoon.
Okay, yeah, great. No, it was to warm my 75-year-old self.
And Diamond?
Oh, Diamond is on her bed. The no-eye dog is in his chair.
No-eye dog?
Winnie is in her chair, and I'm in the one chair that, once in a great while, Parker, the no-eye dog, gets a chance to sit in. But he has a blanket, and I make him a little nest because he has no hair. Have you met him yet? You haven't either?
Nope.
He's pretty amazing. Like I told you, he can jump in my truck, and he's not just blind, he has no eyes.
Yeah, as I say, you just got him taken out recently, didn't you?
I got him about a month and a half ago.
Rick Caldwell.
Joined the meeting.
This is Rick.
I know. That's why someone said Rick Caldwell. I didn't think it was, Vice President, what's his name?
I'd like to get on the Zoom, too, but I'm not sure how.
I use my phone. I don't know if that is...
I'm using my phone right now, but...
Yeah, that works. Don't mess with it because you're going to probably sound like someone with marbles. We're going to have to stop 20 times while you fuck with the thing. So this works. I know you want to show off your new healthy bearded look, and I would advise everyone to go visit Rick because he looks beautiful now.
Okay.
Is somebody there who can help me get onto Zoom here?
On
The townofsilverplume.com/bot meeting didn't work.
Can you enter the meeting number and then the password?
Yeah, that's how I managed to get here by phone. But how do I do the internet thing?
Oh, you have to download the Zoom app.
Oh.
Do you hear me? This is Ann.
Yeah?
You have to download the Zoom app on your computer. You just go
Well,
to
I've
Zoom.
gotten on to, I've done numerous Zoom meetings so far without doing that.
Oh, well, then when I downloaded it, it just said you say the meeting you want to join. And I put in the number and it worked fine.
All right. I don't know how to do this. Okay, how do I download?
They should be able to send you a link like we did the other night.
Anybody hear me?
I can
I
hear
can
you.
hear you.
Is my cross clear?
Yeah, seems clear to me.
Okay.
Yeah, sounds good.
Did everybody get your email? I sent you a town clerk report and a list of bills.
Yes, I got it.
Let me go look.
I got it.
I will let you know shortly.
Thank you, Sarah. Kay, are you there? Somebody help Rick.
I'm here.
Are you on there on the phone, Rick?
I'm here by phone, yeah.
Okay.
Still trying to figure out how to get online.
Okay, I did not get an email with the bills and what the other item was.
Okay, we can run down them if you like.
Sure. No, I mean, I if there's anything other than normal bills, I trust the august body, which I am honored to be a part of, to do their due diligence, and I trust their evaluative processing completely, and I will just recuse myself. How's that?
You don't have, I'll get you a copy of them tomorrow.
I don't need to see them. They're fine.
I just sent them like at 6:30, so maybe they'll come tonight yet.
Okay. Yeah, I checked all of the things that I checked, the inbox. Unless, let me try junk email, which is not. Yes, there it is.
Oh boy.
The re-roof proposal and the bills. That was in my junk mail. I will see what I can do. I can see how I can get stuff from town out of my junk mail.
Okay, you may have a town clerk update in there as well.
Right now, I just see the small town hall roof and the bills.
Okay.
And some true junk mail.
Okay, are we ready to get started? Don't
Please.
see Frank.
I think we're waiting for Frank.
Sasha's
Yeah, I
having,
did get.
Sasha's
I
having,
just got the.
I'm here
sorry.
now, Sarah.
oh, good, Sash, great.
And I did get your update.
Oh, good.
So we're square.
My dad, just before I left, Johnny and Jaya were mowing the grass at town hall. So it'll look really nice tomorrow for the insurance adjuster.
What, Will?
Sasha.
The lawn there at town hall was getting kind
Oh,
of
that's good.
So they were over there mowing it. It smelled really good.
Okay, and
That's awesome.
the large town hall is something, or the George Downing Playhouse is something we'll discuss tomorrow. I mean, tonight.
The large town hall.
Yeah.
But let's get started here. Can you join me?
Sam, Sam, you're
Sasha, can
breaking
you
up.
hear me? Yeah. All right. I'm gonna have to do this a different way then.
Okay.
Hang on just a minute. I'm gonna leave the meeting on. Back on in a minute.
Yeah. Ran out of screen space, maybe.
There would be an arrow over here.
And Ann,
Hey, Sarah? You there, Sarah?
Yep.
Hey, Tammy.
yes,
Were you able to get that email out? The Turner Morris bid?
yes, I did.
Yeah, I got it.
Okay, cool.
I just didn't
Cool.
send it to you. Do you have a copy of it?
Well, thank you. I mean, I've got
I'm sorry.
I do.
You-
I just wasn't, I know it took me, I didn't get it back to you until later in the afternoon, so.
That's okay. I made a stop real quick just before this meeting started. So thank you.
Hey, Tammy,
Cool.
how is
Thank
Sam
you.
doing?
He's doing okay, but he really can't walk yet. So gonna make it a short day tomorrow and maybe he'll be better the next couple days.
Who's that?
I
My-
hope so. That didn't sound too good.
No, it's kind of yucky.
I'm sorry, I missed who was having issue.
Oh, Sam got a very deep cut in his knee and in his wrist. Missed both arteries by just millimeters from an airplane propeller that got loose.
Wow, that's lucky.
Yes, very lucky that didn't hit him in the face or a little closer.
Or other body, there's a whole list of body parts.
Oh, yes, because he was on his knees on the floor and he was wearing a pair of shorts.
Oh, wow.
So
Can you hear me now?
talk a little bit.
Can you hear me now?
That's a lot better.
Sounds a lot better,
Okay.
Sam.
I had to switch to my phone. I got a new computer today, but I didn't get it in time to get it all set up, and I don't have a camera on it. So I was using my daughter's computer, but I'm back to my phone.
All right, we got you there, Sam.
Okay. Did Frank ever join us?
Not yet.
Okay. Let's go ahead and start the meeting. Call the meeting to order at 7:13. Take a roll call. Chris,
I'm here.
Sarah,
Yes, indeed.
Sasha.
I'm here.
Okay. Kathy,
Here.
Marty,
Yep.
and Frank's not here yet. Okay, who else do we have?
Tammy's here.
Okay,
Rick.
who else is here that's not on the board?
We've got Ann and Chuck Jedley.
Okay,
We're not on board.
Welcome.
Rick Caldwell's here.
Welcome.
okay,
It's
all right. Does everybody have the agenda?
Yep.
Any additions or?
Just an update on the food bank.
Okay,
Sam, would you like to do my 5-minute clerk report first? It does have information on the agenda items in it.
okay, yeah, go ahead. Let's approve the agenda first and then you can,
Okay. Okay.
do I hear a motion to approve the agenda with the addition of the food bank update?
I move to
So
approve
moved.
the agenda as amended.
I
Go
I
ahead.
have a quick question before we
Uh-huh.
do that. The conversation with the Clear Creek County Commissioners, does that fall under committee reports or does that need to be added to the agenda?
I think we could put that under number 1 with you and Sam,
Yeah,
Okay,
that'll work.
the county update.
okay, cool, that's fine. I'll second the motion then.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed?
I,
Okay, agenda's approved. One quick question from Sasha, or for Sasha, did you get a call from George Marlin today?
yes, I
Sasha?
did. I spoke with him for a bit.
Okay. Sorry to sick
Yeah.
him on you, but I couldn't get a hold of you. All
Oh, no,
right.
that's fine. We spoke for a bit, so I have some information on that.
Okay,
Neat.
all right. Tammy, you want to go ahead with your report? Oh,
Yes, did everybody get the email? Did you
Have
receive?
you had public comment yet?
Actually, no, we have not. Let's do that first.
Well, that was what I was waiting for.
Okay, go ahead with public comment then.
Okay, couple of things. Number 1, I hope everybody on the board can get a key to the town hall. I'm kind of tired of being the key holder of last resort around here.
Sounds good.
Tammy, could you make sure everyone gets a key?
Yes, I will. I was working on that. I just got sidetracked. But yes,
Okay,
that.
thank you. Number 2, for these meetings in the future, it would really be nice if you had an internet link so that I could get onto the proper Zoom and not just be here by phone. I've done it many times before, but you have to have a link, and I never saw one for this meeting. The one that's on the top of the agenda didn't work. And number 3.
Sorry, I'll get that to you, Rick.
Yeah, number 3. I have been at the request of the mayor. I've been in touch with a company called Municode, which is the biggest and, by most reports, the best of the national organizations that can help towns and other municipalities codify their ordinances. I have talked to them about how it works. Briefly, we have to come up with all the ordinances that we can find, and we have to get them to this company electronically. Then they give us a quote for what it's going to cost to codify the thing. In our case, the estimate is it's going to be somewhere in the $8,000 to $10,000 range. The costs can be spread over a couple of years, and they've said to me twice now, we know what it's like in small towns. If you have trouble coming up with the money quickly, we can work out a payment plan with you. So I've told them I think that we probably are going to want to go forward on this, and that I would call them back if I got a contrary read from the board. So what's your read, folks?
I think it's a good idea myself.
I think it's something that's got to be done.
Absolutely. Thank you very much, Rick.
Okay. Well, at that
Rick,
point, I don't need to do anything more. Tammy just has to come up with all the ordinances she can find and get them into electronic form.
Can I ask you a question, Rick?
Sure.
Just for those of us that aren't quite up to speed on what all the terms are, could you explain what codifying the ordinances mean?
Well, it means you end up with a set of statutes, everything that you believe is law in your town law. And it's organized topically, it's kept up. They have a service that'll keep it up yearly.
Okay, I'm here.
All right, thanks. I'll talk to you later.
Okay, bye.
Bye.
And they have a service that will keep it up annually. It's not horribly expensive, and I suspect it's worth it. We really don't know what a lot of our laws are. And one of the benefits is that it all gets put online and maintained regularly.
Okay.
Yeah, I think we have to do that no matter what. It's just a good idea.
Absolutely great. Yeah. Kudos.
Well, in that case, I guess I'm through. We're still working on a presentable draft of the short-term rentals ordinance. I would expect it'll be ready by the next board meeting. I had hoped it would be ready by tonight, but
I sent you an email just a little while ago with some questions and comments, Rick.
Yeah, and I just saw that email, but I haven't had a chance to read it. I will get back
Sorry
to you
it took me
when
so
I
long to
have.
get around to it. I've had a pretty full plate here lately.
I know you
Thanks,
do.
Don.
I know you do. So that's my report. Anything that I need to hang around for?
If I could,
Go ahead.
What? Hello?
I
Oh,
don't believe so, Rick.
Pardon? I don't know what's happening.
Sasha, what are you saying? We didn't get the whole sentence.
I just I wanted to ask Tammy if what her schedule at town hall would be, if I could help her make those files electronic.
I will have to check, Sasha. I've got a big pile of stuff right now, but probably not going to be this week. But I'll let you know, and I would appreciate the help.
One thing
I can help too.
One thing that the Muni Code suggested, and they, we're dealing with someone who specializes in Colorado, and actually has worked for Georgetown before. You could get volunteer work from high schoolers who have a requirement for community service every year, and having them, if we come up with old laws that are not already in electronic form, they can spend their time reading it into scanners. That's a helpful possibility to keep in mind.
We'll definitely
Over
keep
and
that.
out.
Thank you, Rick.
Okay.
Thank you, Rick.
Thank you, Rick.
Could I just close
Thanks,
with
Rick.
one last question to Tammy? And realistically speaking, because I know that you're pulled every which way right now, what's your best guess on how long it's going to take to get them all together? Are we looking at a month? Are we looking at 5 months? What are we looking at here?
Well, I would say more closely to a month. a lot of them are actually the ones that I took out of the closet, you know, are the older ones, and then the newer ones are in the book. Some of them are not signed, but I don't know what to do about that. So I do have a lot of, you know, all the current stuff is electronically available. So I would say within a month we could pull that together.
Okay, good. Just good to have a ballpark figure.
I found a lot of things when I went through the closet. So yes, I
Well,
do.
and including getting them in electronic form that we can send them to Municode.
Well,
It's going to
the
be a
ones-
big project.
The ones that are bound in books, I'm sure that Sasha is trustworthy enough to take them with her and take them home to do that. So the older ones, you know, that would probably be the biggest challenge, I would think.
Yeah. Yeah, all the new stuff, since I've been around at least, is already in electronic form.
Yes.
It should be.
And we've already done a kind of a mini codification with the land use code where we put 9 ordinances into a code with a table of contents.
Right.
Easy
And
to
that was
navigate.
drafted with the idea of sometime becoming part of a larger total municipal code for us.
Yes. And it would be a lot easier to manage and a lot easier for people to do research themselves online.
Yep. Yep. It's a big job now, Tammy, but if we get it done, it should take a lot of pressure off of you.
Yes, I do understand that. So it will also, it will ensure that, you know, this roof leak and God forbid, some other kind of thing that destroyed the records, that we would have all of our records in electronic form and in a safe place.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, I'm done then. Any other questions before I go eat dinner?
I'm good. Thank you, Rick.
Thank you for your
Okey-doke.
help, Rick.
You, Rick?
So long, folks.
Good night, Rick. Thank you.
Okay, Tammy.
Are we comment yet?
I'm sorry, is there any more public comment?
Hello?
Yes.
What? Hello, is this the meeting?
What?
Is this the town hall meeting or town
It is.
board meeting?
Yes,
Yeah.
I just hung up.
that's what you thought.
Somebody
Vladimir
dialed me
Putin
back?
didn't
What's
want
the
you
problem? What?
Vladimir Putin didn't want you to. He still wants to listen.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm going to try hanging up once more. Okay?
God.
Bye.
Bye, Rick.
Bye.
Okay, any more public comment?
Yes.
Well, this isn't working very well. I don't know what to do.
Well, Rick's trying to.
Hi, Chuck.
This is Chuck Jadley, and I have my comments written down, and I think you'll have them recording this meeting. And if not, I could bring them into Tammy later. But you'll get the, and then we'll have a time for questions. We're back for most of the summer, Ann and I are. I've been approached by several residents to lead in getting some maintenance projects done this summer at no cost other than materials from the town. And we don't care which of our lists gets done first. We are willing to give our time and tools to complete the work which we start. You may have a different list and would direct our efforts differently, and that's okay too. The lists, number one, and they're not in necessarily prioritized order, or maybe yours. So it's just to give you the list. The brewery spring building needs to be leveled towards the east right now. The roof needs to be replaced, and it needs to be painted. We took care of the jail roof and paint. Number two, we replace the walker in front of the small town hall there. I think it's dangerous, and you've noted it as dangerous by the cone. We could redo the walk in wood, or we could in place of the wood. Number 3, the hose house next to the museum needs a roof and paint. Some years ago, I and others did a rehab on the other hose house. So we have a little experience in scraping paint and painting and roofing. Number 4, the 2 trails to the top of the Bull's Head need signage and blazes. And I don't know if that's on Robert's list to do, and I think he's leaving our community, so I didn't know what other to do other than to put it in the list here. We have done some survey work, that is walking up both trails to see what some of the needs are. The signage and blazes would be very small in cost, but I think people want to know, how do you get to the top of the bull? Wallpapering the boardroom in the town hall. I am from Rick that there may be some interest in proceeding with that. We just want you to know that we bought the muslin to hang that wallpaper on years ago, and that we still have it. Let's see. Note then on my list, I will care for the Methodist Church lawn, and others will probably help me. I've cleared this with Cindy Condon. I've lost my list. All right. And we will need your direction for priorities, and we'll need your help for funding for the materials. But the labor is all donated by people who care about this community. I haven't estimated any cost on projects, but I can do that if you say, well, this is the first one we want you to tackle, tell us what it's going to cost. My and others' time is limited. The sooner you give us direction, the more that gets done this summer. We'll advertise in the post offices and town hall the times and places and activities so that all who are interested in being part of this can come at the time and join in and be welcomed there. And last comment, I guess, is if you have any questions at this time, I might be able to answer them. And if most of you know what I've done in the community in the past and don't have a problem with finding out things to be done, because we do have a strong interest. You know, it doesn't seem possible, but it's 23 years since we came to Silver Plume.
Yeah. Well, bless you for doing that and taking that up.
And thank you very much. I don't know that we've met. I'm Sam McCloskey. I'm the new mayor, and
yes,
I'll come help you with everything I can. And if we can touch base here in the next day or two, we'll work on getting the priorities straightened out and go from there. And I'm sure willing to do everything that I can to help.
Ask him where you can meet him.
We can meet you wherever you desire. I think this week we are open
like every
day and evening.
Mm-hmm.
Next week might be not quite as open because we are arranging for somebody to visit, but we're pretty well free at your schedule and your priorities. Thank you for listening.
Chuck, and wonderful to have you back. And Sam, I support just what you said. The one thing I'll say, Chuck, is as Sam indicated, we'll look at our priorities. I think we have underway efforts to obtain funding to work on the small town hall, including the your well-recognized wooden walkway in front of the small town hall. So that might, not for sure, that might not be one of the things that we would ask you to help with, but who the heck knows? It's just great to have you guys back. And I wanted to add my thanks to the list of those who have already done so.
All right.
Thank you.
We'll leave you then for the rest of your meeting and look forward to listening to it later.
Okay, does Tammy has your contact information, your phone number and stuff, don't she?
Yes, I do.
Okay, I'll get that from Tammy and I'll get in touch with you here in the next day or two.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Chuck.
Thank you. Have a good night.
Bye-bye now. Thanks again.
Any more public comment? Seeing none, we'll move on. Tammy, it's your turn.
Okay, I sent out the town clerk update just about 6:15 as well, so I'm sorry if you didn't receive it. That would be my fault. I explained that you asked that the office be resituated to do the COVID-19 renovations and make the counter to keep the public, at a safe distance. I spent a lot of time packing up all those files that were on the mat cabinet and put things into boxes so we could move them around. The building department and all the things I was working on got moved at that time into your meeting room. So I could continue to work on those things and work with them. So when the roof started to leak and we had to evacuate everything out of that closet, a lot more stuff got put in that room. And now we've actually had a lot more water over the weekend. So that room's going to have to be emptied out. We've got the ceilings going to be wet in there. And hopefully tomorrow I'll know more about what needs to get done in there. But my point is, we still have a lot of stuff that's not organized or protected, and it's just piled up in the meeting room. So as I try to get things like this done and get to them, time just keeps slipping away. So for instance, when the power was out the other day, I got 4 or 5 hours of moving and cleaning done. So I've just got a fan in there right now, and I've got the heater on and the bathroom fan. Tomorrow at noon, we'll be meeting with the insurance adjuster from Sursa to look at the roof. So we're also going to need a bid for the interior, wet drywall, and drying out the moisture that's coming in through the walls and into the ceiling. The other thing is the tree removal. I called Lamb Tree Service today. They didn't have anyone in the office. They're going to try and get me a bid for the tree removal there at Tregay and Cherokee Street. The guy that lives in that little blue house there, Ron Breckenridge, works for Excel, and he was going to try to get us some information, but I have not heard back from him either. So the tree is rotten at the bottom and it is leaning. So every time the wind blows, it's kind of threatening to fall on those power lines. Did not get a response from Excel all last week. CDOT finally painted the yellow line on Water Street from Woodward West, and I will get an email back to them thanking them for getting that done. Niall got a lot of road base spread last week, so the holes aren't so bad. I think it looks a lot better. And then I talked with Rick Caldwell and looked up some ordinances and did some research with him trying to look at some ordinances. The water department, you probably received in your mailboxes the town's water report for last year. There was a violation we failed to report. We did do the sampling, but we did not report it. So John Volk said those were fairly new regulations, and it was essentially just a reporting error and let you know the water is fine. If there's any questions, there's 2 pages of information on who to contact and we'll be happy to answer any questions that anyone has. The general things, finally got a little bit of hand sanitizer from USA Blue Book. It's the spray type and it is flammable, so it's not the kind of thing you can use in a machine shop, but we can use it at town hall for now. We do have a dispenser for the building on back order. I don't think we need two of them. That one can serve as a hand sanitizer for the meeting room as well. There are several building department projects right now. I've got pending permits just for regular building permits, and I've got the 2 development plans just turned in between Friday and today. So I need to schedule those for public hearings, and I will send all those notices to the board members as well as the planning commission. The historic guidelines that I provided to those folks, I had my husband take them down and make copies at UPS so we could have extra copies of them to hand out to people. And Sasha, I was going to actually check with you to see if maybe your father might have those in electronic form for me. It's in the form of a newspaper, so they put it into columns. And it was done around the time he was mayor. So that
I think that I have them somewhere, Tammy.
okay.
I'll go through the stuff that because I know that I received them electronically when I was on the board before. So I'll look back through my stuff and see what I can find.
That would be very, very helpful. It's a lot easier to try to provide the information to folks, before they start doing work.
And you mean the landmark district compliance stuff, right? That's what you're talking about?
Well, I believe they're titled the Historic Guidelines and a Plan for Silver Plume. It's essentially your comprehensive plan. And I believe it's probably early 80s.
Yeah, I think you're right. I'll look back through what I have and I'll talk to you.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
I did notice that I just received the file back from the accountant. So tomorrow I should be able to load that file and go ahead and forward it on to the auditor. And then we will set a date for him to get all the audit documents done. A lot of the stuff that he requires, I can send to him electronically and he can get going on it. So I'm thinking we do not need the meeting room for that exercise. But I think the water leak and all that's happened in the town hall kind of affects that too, because I don't know, I really don't know yet the extent of the damage or how wet it is, or if people are going to be in there working on it while we're doing the audit. So that's up in the air a little bit, but I will firm that up this week. The water billing for May went out. I have a couple left to send out on the email, but I'm trying to get the upgrade to Cassell so that we can finally be in the 21st century. And that was kind of a priority along with the audit. So I will work the ordinances into that schedule. Once those 2 things are accomplished, I should be pretty much caught up and able to do whatever he wants to. I met with Sam and Sarah doing the list of goals for the next review period. And like I said, trying to just get the town hall back in order so that I can effectively perform my duties. It's a little bit of a mess right now, so we need to dry it out and stop the leaking, and then I think things will be a little bit better. Questions?
I have one quick one.
Tammy? Oh, go ahead, Kathy. Sorry.
Sorry, Sasha. The trees, are those on town property?
They're actually in an easement there on the corner. So I tried with Excel first because they're threatening the power lines, and it's actually just grown through the fence off the property and right into the road. So it's on the edge of the road where I don't know what utilities would be on the edge of the road, but it's close enough to be a real concern for getting it down as a matter of public safety. So I am still going to keep trying to get Excel to come and cut it down or at least top it so that it's not in danger of hitting the power lines.
Okay.
But
So can I
it's very
clarify?
close.
So can I clarify, Kathy, I'm trying to understand your question, and Tammy, your reaction. Kathy, one, question, does the town have responsibility if it's not on town property? Is that part of your question? And what I heard Tammy say is that it could be of public safety concern. So even if it's not on town property, it's of town concern. But is your concern that our responsibility, I mean, essentially, if it's not on town property, do we have responsibility for it? Is that what you're inquiring about?
Well, and since it's an easement, I think we do have a responsibility because
But-
it's an easement.
Gotcha. But was your question related to whether or not the town had responsibility when you said town property? I'm just trying to understand your question.
Yeah, that's all.
Okay, thanks.
No big deal.
Okay, any more questions for Tammy?
Hi, this is Frank.
Yeah.
I have a question before we leave this tree thing. If it's on an easement for Excel, most places where they have easements, they go out and do the work to clear the hazard trees and reduce fire hazard. And that includes all the major power lines in the county. I don't know if that same responsibility, Excel's responsibility, extends to an easement within the municipality. So that's part of trying. What Tammy's trying to do is get some kind of answer from Excel, whether they would consider it a project to protect their lines and their responsibility, or whether it would be the town's responsibility. So I think a lot of that depends on what kind of answer that we get from Excel, and hope another big windstorm doesn't come through before we get an answer.
Well, Frank,
Okay,
I have a question. Would it be appropriate just to take care of it and then, as quickly as possible, address the issue? Just as a matter
Can I interrupt here? We're on the subject of Tammy's report. The actual tree removal is on the agenda at number 6. Let's take this conversation to when we get to that on the agenda. Let's move on here.
Okay.
All right. Is there any other questions for Tammy? All right,
No,
let's
thank
move on
you.
to, what's that?
I said no, thank you.
All right, let's move on to bill payment and
and I
financial.
did get
review.
my copy, so.
Oh, good.
Well, I have one comment on the bills. Tammy's got down to reimburse her for the tarps for the town hall. She bought two tarps and I only ended up using one of them, the smaller of the two. The other one could probably be returned unless you think we ought to keep it for future problems. Not saying that we shouldn't reimburse Tammy for it. I'm just saying that it's there, unused, unopened. It could be returned.
Tarp is a useful thing to have on a Saturday.
Can't have too many tarps.
Right.
Okay, so we'll keep it. I'll put it in the town shop.
Excellent. Thank you.
Right.
I
Tammy,
move to approve the bills.
I'd second that motion.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
hi.
Aye.
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 All right.
Any opposed? Okay, we'll pay the bills. move on to new business, item number 1. Sasha, why don't you go ahead and start on that, and then I'll take over after you're done.
Okay. So I spoke with our one of our county commissioners today, George Marlin. The county has $864,000 in COVID relief funds that is available to us. There are stipulations. All of the communities in the county have to agree on how to spend the money. But we do all get an equal seat at the table and an equal piece of the pie. This money has to be used for things that were previously not budgeted prior to COVID-19. We can't use it for any planned expenses. It is aid for coronavirus relief. There's three kind of bullet points that the commissioners are looking for input from the communities. The first is to what extent each town wants to try and manage their money on their own and go after their pieces from DOLA on their own, or if we want to do it all through the county as a joined effort, and then the county would receive the money and would dole it out as agreed. The second point that they want to discuss is any accounting of money that we've spent to date on coronavirus efforts. That would include making the town hall safe for the employees. It could include getting the Chromebooks for board members that don't have computers at home. So we need to get a tally of that money, and maybe Tay and Tammy and I could get that together to get it to the commissioners, as soon as we can, because we all have no other projects going on. And the third point is the county is trying to formulate a plan for what to do with the money that's left over. It doesn't seem in my conversation with George that the sum total that all of the different communities have put into the COVID relief will use up this $864,000. So we need to talk about what we want to do with any extra money. And again, all of the communities have to agree, and we all have to use the money the same way. There is no leeway on how each dollar is spent. The probably most important point is this has to be done in 30 days. So we have a very small window to be a part of this conversation and to access this money. I am more than willing to be Silver Plume's representative to the commissioners on this committee and group, if that's agreeable to everybody in the group. But we do need to act quickly, and we need to make sure that we have an equal say with the other towns and communities in the county and get our chunk of this change, because we need it. So that's my soapbox on the topic, and I'll let Sam fill in anything. And if anybody has any specific questions
I do.
that they would like me to bring to George or whatever, I'll do my best. Yeah, Sarah?
Sasha, wait, certainly happy to wait for Sam. It's a quick one.
Go ahead, Sarah.
Yeah, so Sasha, I was just thinking, first of all, yay, amen. Thank you for stepping up to this. And Sam, I know you and I chatted about this briefly. One of the thoughts I had was, is it possible we could somehow address challenges that folks have had paying water and sewer bills in this context.
Yes. Sorry, I don't mean to cut you off. Do you have more?
No, I just wanted to throw that into the mix.
So that's one of the things that George Marlin is hoping can be brought to the discussion about what to do with the leftover money, is that then a chunk would go to aid for water and sewer and utilities for individuals in the community.
Yep.
We need to have the broader discussion of how we're actually going to do that.
Gotcha.
But that is a big piece of the conversation.
Excellent. Now, my other related question is, is there any possibility of getting reimbursed for in-kind labor, like what you and Marty have been doing with the food bank? And, one, I know there's one concrete cost that the board allocated early on, which was $1,000 to Billy to buy, and set up those emergency food boxes. But there's been so much effort. It's been expended by you and others in that regard, but.
Yes and no. I did have a brief conversation with George about that because his wife, Uchi, is really who has been like the lead organizer of all the food drives.
Right.
And as far as the county is concerned and our participation in the county's food program, Marty, correct me if I'm wrong, but it is all volunteer based.
Okay. Yeah.
Absolutely, and I would certainly thank you for that. Thank you for that idea. But I would certainly. I'm just happy that I can function and contribute to anything that and to help at this time where I've received so much from.
Thank you, Marty. The other piece, though, Sarah, is that we might be able to. This is a little bit separate, I guess, more of a PEEPS reimbursement than a Town of Silver Plume reimbursement, but towards utilities for the use of the town hall for the food bank.
Yep. Good.
Which I think is all helpful and useful. So that's what I've got.
Thank you very much.
That sounds really great, Sasha.
Thank you, Sasha, and I appreciate you taking that on. And I apologize for kind of sicking George on you. I tried a few times this weekend to call you and talk to you about it myself and could never get through. So George called me this morning wanting to know who I was going to appoint to that committee, and I told him that I'd hoped to ask you to do it, but I hadn't been able to get a hold of you, and he said he'd give you a call. So
he's got my number.
He seemed extremely happy that you was the one that I was choosing to do that.
Well, George and I have been friends since we were about 12.
All right.
So any opportunity that we have to work together, especially when it comes to trying to help the county, we jump at it. So thank you.
George and I have worked together quite a bit on this COVID policy group. We're co-chairs of it, and I really enjoy working with George. He's a good man.
Yes, he is.
Okay, the rest of my update on the COVID, the policy group is kind of in a changing gears mode. We've got most of the county opened back up with the exception of large venues and bars, which we're hoping that'll take place here towards the end of the month. So we're looking more at trying to find ways to help everybody recover from the effects of the shutdown and all that. For those of you that don't know, the train started operating this weekend. We've done pretty good there. Had some pretty good crowds, but been able to maintain the social distancing like we're supposed to. I reached out to Brian, owner of the coffee bar, asked him what his plans were, and he's working towards getting that reopened. I guess he's got a cousin that's going to take over management of it and hopes to get reopened here shortly. Also spoke with the owners of the bread bar. They're kind of sitting back to see what happens and said they'll look at things around the 1st of July and make a decision then based on what new information the governor puts out and the county and all that, and try and make a decision at that time as to when they're going to reopen. I think that's about all I got on the COVID update. Any questions or anybody else have an update?
Well, the item with Brian, he also mentioned a possibility and asked me to bring it up that he would considering putting some small tables outside, which would make it easier to maintain social distancing. So just something that to think about, not address immediately. I just told him I'd let the board know.
All right.
Sam, I have a question. What are we going to do about our road closures?
Well,
I
at the
have the
last-
answer to that. I was going to get them today, but my truck is in the shop, and I will address. I'm going to pick them up tomorrow as soon as the truck is ready. So that'll be
The
taken care
last
of.
board meeting, we voted to end that when the county ended their road closures, and about 2 days later, the county ended their road closures. I just haven't, Marty and I have talked about getting out and picking up the signs, and I've been gonna do it. And I've just been too busy. So between me and Marty, we'll get out here in the next few days and get the signs picked up and open the roads back up.
Be a run around
Yeah, well,
tomorrow too. I'm gonna give a hand and just get them picked up.
Okay.
Yeah, since we're not playing golf
Thanks.
tomorrow.
I
I
have
know.
a quick comment too, Sam, please.
Yeah, go ahead.
If we could just get a couple of the fire ban signs. I don't know, Chris, if that's something that you could get from Kelly. But I just want to make sure that we show that we're in compliance with the stage 1 ban in town, if you could, please.
Yeah, I can ask Kelly and see if there's a provided sign or if we need to just get some made up.
I know we used to have one by the train, it used to be by the road going up to the cemetery, but I don't know if that was ours or the county's.
I think they're the counties if I remember
Yeah.
right. So I'll ask Kelly because they're all the same throughout the county.
Yeah.
But I'll give him a call tomorrow and find out.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
would just like to maintain our unification on that front. Please
I
and
will
thank
let-
you.
I
I
agree.
can enlarge a sign for the town hall. We've got a small one, but I can make it larger so it can be read at a distance.
Yeah, well, and we used to get a couple of those clapper boards every time it happened,
Yes,
So I think we just need to reach out and ask for them.
I think you're right.
But if you could do that, Chris, I would really appreciate it.
Not
Yeah,
a
I think
problem.
that
I'll
would-
give him a call tomorrow.
I think that would be really good too, because there were firearms discharged somewhere in this side of the town yesterday.
That's not good.
Okay, let's move on to item number 2, the town hall roof replacement. I imagine by now everybody knows that we lost a good part of the roofing during the windstorms over the weekend. We got quite a bit of water in, and it's ruined the drywall and the ceiling in the kitchen area back there. we're to the point where we can't wait any longer. We need to get something done with it. Did everybody get the email with the 2 bids that we've gotten on it?
Yes.
I got the Turner Morris one, but the other one, the second half of that, and both of mine are the same one from Turner Morris. So I didn't get Sean Plett's one, but I
got them
know,
both.
just listen. Yeah, I can just listen to it. That's fine.
That was a couple days ago, Marty, that I sent that one, I think Thursday.
Yeah, I went back through all of anything related to the roof in my deleted file, and I checked everything, and I don't know. It just, for whatever reason, it didn't. Like I said, I got 2 of the other ones, but those came in today, so I know that was different. But,
Marty, I just sent it to you again.
okay, thank you.
Thank you, Sarah.
Okay, and as Tammy mentioned, I asked Tammy to call Sursa and see if we could turn it into the insurance and have the insurance pay for the roof replacement. And we've got an adjuster coming tomorrow to look it over, and I believe they're gonna pay for not only the roof replacement, but the replacement of the drywall in the kitchen area and whatever other damages we find because of it. Tammy, correct me if I'm wrong, but they suggested that we go ahead and look at the bids that we have and make a decision. Is that correct?
Yes. Yes, in
Okay.
the interest of trying to get something done.
The other 3 people that I tried to get up here to get a bid in wouldn't even come up for 3 to 4 weeks to do a bid. So
It's a busy
Right.
time of year for roofers.
We did get
Tell me
a
about it.
tarp put over it, and I think I got it tied down pretty good to where it's not gonna blow off. So we have a little bit of time. Tay looked at the first bid that we got, and she had some concerns over it. I don't think she's seen the bid that come out today. She was wondering about the quality of the materials that he was going to use, and the bid that we got today was for putting plywood down first and then the roof. The bid from Sean, he didn't think that we need to put plywood down. He said that he looked at it and thought that the roof under the roofing was in good enough shape that it wasn't necessary. So that makes up for some of the big difference between the 2 bids. The amount of work that's going to be done.
Did Sean look at it before the last storm we just had, though?
Yes.
So could be more damage now than there was when Sean took a look at it.
Yeah.
If I could interject just for a second on the bid from Turner Morris. I have to recuse myself from voting on it,
Yes.
obviously, because it's my husband. But when I spoke to the woman, Amy, in the office at Turner Morris, she said that they did prepare this bill with the idea of a 100% replacement of all underlayment, replacing plywood, bitchethane, everything. And so if any of the materials underneath are acceptable and meet their standards, then they obviously won't replace those. But this is the cost of a 100% roof replacement.
Yeah.
And it does come with their guarantee, which in the work that they did on the George Downing Playhouse, that has stood up well.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. No, Sasha, Sarah here, of course. 1, I appreciate you recognizing that you have to recuse yourself. 2, I appreciate that additional clarification. three, I was going to say it was hard for me to compare the two because the detail that was provided by Sean made it easier to say, okay, this is material, this is labor. What John's place did was harder to discern. So it's harder to understand that if they don't have to replace the plywood, et cetera, it's hard to like assess the parallel cost of the work. But I have to say it was a professional, well, here's the thing. There was no RFP, there was no consistent, this is what we need. It was a quick response. John's organization did such a nice job. But anyway, so that was my only comment.
One way I'd like to look at it too is if we're going to end up using insurance on this, I think we should maybe look at a complete re-roof. I mean, take full advantage of a claim if we're going to make a claim anyways. So I agree with Turner Morris's quote more than I do Sean's in that sense. But I mean, we never really gave Sean a chance to do the whole entire roof, I guess. But we'll leave that up to what you guys think as well.
The only other comment that I have on that too is just warranty of materials and project, which I know that Sean guarantees his work. I know he's done really good work around town and I've worked with him before. But because of the size of Turner Morris as a company, they do also get the manufacturer warranties for every single product that they use along the way, which I think is something that we need to consider as well. Because like Chris said, if this is an insurance claim, which we're hoping it is, and it will cover it, let's get the most bang for our buck.
And an insurance company would probably rather see a quote coming from Turner Morris versus a local contractor, just because that's the way insurance companies are anyways.
I gotta say, Sasha better stop talking pretty soon.
I'm done.
Much as I appreciate what you're saying, Sasha.
I know, I'm done.
I don't know what the feeling on the board is, but I mean, I think we really do need to act on this probably tonight, though.
I agree.
Say when they might be able to work. Can they start work like immediately?
Sean can start tomorrow. I spoke with him about it today.
This is Frank. Could I ask a few questions?
Yes, go ahead.
One, I never got the bid, a copy of the bid from John. So what was the total cost from him?
$35,580.
No, that's
John.
Oh, I thought you said John. I'm sorry. His was
22,418.64.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
Okay, so the answer was 22 something?
418.64.
Yeah.
22 and change, 35 and change.
But you guys, it was scratched out, and when you add up his numbers, it was far less than 22 and change. So that's something that needs to be clarified.
If you read that bid, you've got one set of numbers for a metal roof replacement, and then you've got numbers for the asphalt option. So that's, I believe, why it's scratched out.
Oh, okay.
And actually, there's three options listed there.
Oh, okay. I completely misread that then.
I'm sorry. I told him we really needed to hurry, and he got that into us on Thursday. So
each option, then the subtotal is the cost for that option, not the total that's at the bottom.
I believe
so.
Yes.
So for the vertical seam metal roof and labor is $11,165.35.
Okay.
I don't have it in front of me right now, but yeah, I believe that was right.
Okay. And then
so Sasha, I'm sorry, plus the 2008, which is the labor, et cetera.
Well, that's because when it says option 1, it says vertical seam metal roofing materials, labor to install. So then each of these options are plus the 2,000.
7, 3,
yes,
11.
Right. Okay. Materials plus labor.
So,
Yeah,
so
because the
it's
top
a-
is the felt paper and all that, yeah.
Okay, I'm
And
sorry. I
the
was reading
trash
that
removal.
completely incorrectly.
so it's
Yeah,
11
so was I.
plus 2008 gives you the maximum.
Okay, so we're at 13.2
Yeah,
or 5.5 or 7.7.
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay, all right. I understand now. Sorry, I was very confused.
I
Me
was
too.
confused too.
Okay.
Constant
I
state of
would,
confusion.
But there has to be something in here that, you know, if they run into issues with the underlay and the plywood and such, that it's gonna be more.
I had a conversation with Sean on the phone about it, and he said that if he does get into it and there's if the underlayment needs replaced, that would run $35 a sheet, times however many sheets it takes to cover the roof, so
Plus labor.
plus labor.
Yeah, and you guys, I'm sure Sean, if Sean would provide us with more detail on this, it was just to be clear,
Quick.
he was responding to urgency. So, I mean,
Absolutely.
I am so impressed with John's submission because it was full and tight and professional, and Sean's is, I know he's a professional. It was quick and responsive. So, you know, it's not the same quality.
Sasha, what was John's estimated time that they could do the roof?
I have no idea. They did not include that. 'Cause all I have is what was sent to the whole board. I don't have any other information about it outside of my conversation with the office manager today, about getting it. So I do not know what their timeline would be.
Oh,
Because I still think that's going to be
If we would
part
like
of our
to,
decision.
Can I make a suggestion here?
I'm sorry. Yes.
make
Hello?
a suggestion.
There you are.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, it looks to me like we don't have enough information to make a fully informed decision tonight. We've got the insurance adjuster coming tomorrow, and he's likely to identify more work that needs to be done on the inside. Let's schedule a special meeting towards the end of the week, and that'll give us a week to gather more information, find out what the insurance company is going to say, and get some bids that are a little easier to compare. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
I agree
Yeah.
with that. And get a date of complete or date of start on both of them. too.
Yeah.
Right.
And I think,
I would put one caveat in there that we make a decision by the end of the week.
Make a decision by Friday.
yeah.
Right.
Correct.
Well,
Would everybody be available for I would think it would be a fairly quick meeting, say Friday evening?
Should
Yeah,
be.
that's
Friday
fine.
works for me.
Yes, that works.
Could I ask one quick question to Sam?
Sure.
Are we gonna get a separate bid for the interior work? Or do we want to try and keep it together?
I don't know. Do both contractors that we have bids from do that type of work also?
I don't believe Turner Morris does inside drywall.
No, I think they're just roof only. So I think we'd have to make
So that would be something to, if Sean is available and does have the time, if that could be included, I think that would be useful information for us to have as well.
And maybe we can ask Tim Hammond if he'd be interested in making a bid as well with Sean on the interior.
So
Yeah.
what I'm getting is that it should be two separate bids, one for the roof and one for the interior work.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
That sounds
And I think we need to make the
yeah.
decision by Friday on the roof, not necessarily the interior roof. Because if
I
the
would
insurance adjuster is just coming out, we need to give more time to the board to compile that information for the bid on the interior.
I would agree. We can discuss it on Friday if we have all the information. If we don't, we can take care of that at another meeting. But the roof, I think, needs to be done. I've got the tarp on and secured good. So it should be okay till the end of the week. I wouldn't want to go a whole lot longer than that.
Barring more gale force winds.
Yeah. So somebody's going to contact Sean and ask him the questions about the warranty,
Can
right?
you do that, Tammy?
And what else? There were a couple other questions we had for Sean, right?
Yeah, for sure. The cost if we had to replace all the underlayment too.
Yep.
The warranty and what else? Wasn't there one other thing?
When can he start?
Sean
No.
said he could start right away. We needed a started date from Turner Morris.
Yeah.
And are we pretty much, especially if it's covered by insurance, we're pretty much all agreed already from the last meeting that we would like metal.
I would think so.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Me too.
I have a question for Tammy on that. Tammy, in a discussion that we had here a while back, you said there was certain roofs that was already approved for the historic district. Am I correct in that?
Yes, you've got a metal roof on the firehouse right across the street.
Okay, so we don't have any problems with the historic district or anything going with metal.
To the best of my knowledge, no.
Okay.
And I would
Find out from Turner Morris, Sasha.
say, Frank?
I'm sorry, there was a bunch of people talking over each other.
Yeah. There's no requirements from the historic district itself. Any requirements would be if we have gotten a State Historical Society grant to work on the small town hall, and if we have any kind of facade easement on the small town hall. And I don't think we do.
I don't think so
unless there's something happened over the years I don't know about, that it's our choice what we want for a roof using our standards that are in the thing we were talking about earlier, the newspaper type historic standards that we adopted decades and decades ago. So we don't have to go through any kind of thing with the historic district because there's no authority from them to do anything like that.
Gotcha. And Frank, I would like to add that after talking with Sean about this very specifically, not, just recognizing it was an emergent situation, he has done a fair amount of work on buildings that are of historic caliber. And his comment was that historically the tarp, the lower end was historically consistent, as was the higher end of the metal roofing, just as a matter of interest. He also said that there's a sort of a middle ground where there's a simulated metal roof, which is a synthetic, that is not historically correct, but it looks okay. So in his numbers, that was the range that he covered. The middle cost being the least historically significant, for what that's worth.
Sarah?
Yeah. I think we all have to remember too that the corrugated metal is a very historic roof in this area.
Yeah.
But the point I was trying to make is it's our decision. We don't have to go get permission from someone else on what we want to do.
Yeah, here.
Appreciate you clarifying that, Frank. I wasn't sure on that. being in a historic district. Thank
Yeah.
you for your clarification.
Sasha, you had a question?
Yeah, so is that what he's showing as option 3?
No,
Is that that's option 2?
I think I think it's option 2, Sasha.
Option 3 was the corrugated metal roof.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
Oh,
All right. I'm sorry. I'm just trying to
glad you
understand
brought
what we're talking about, and I'm
Right.
confused.
Is that clearer, Sasha?
Yes. Thank you.
Okay.
Good. I got it now.
But the one we're
Okay.
looking at actually for a comparison with Sean's and John's is option 1, the vertical seam metal roof, right?
That's what I understand, Kathy.
Okay,
I think so.
I
Yes.
thought, okay.
Sean and John.
And that's just like the firehouse, correct?
Yes, that's exactly right. That's what Sean said.
Okay, so we'll schedule a special meeting for Friday at 7.
Yeah, that'll work
Could
for
we
me.
do it? Could we do it at 6?
I'm okay with 6.
6.
Anybody else?
Yeah, 6 is good.
I'm
Okay.
6
fine.
is okay.
6 is fine.
So mainly,
Okay.
mainly the only 2 clarifications then with Sean are the warranty and the underlaying, and for John is the start date. Is that correct?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
And Sean's
Okay,
going to give
Tammy,
us a
can you
bid.
put out an agenda for that meeting?
I can. To be clear, is Sean going to be giving us a bid for, will Sarah maybe ask him to give us a estimate for the work inside, or at least take a look at it?
Yeah.
But I think we need the insurance adjuster's notes to know what they believe is damage and what they are willing to
Yes.
cover, at what extent.
Alright. And I'll have that tomorrow. I'm gonna be here for their visit, and I'll pass that on. Sarah, do you mind making contact with Sean on these items?
Sure. No, I'd be happy to do that.
Okay, then I'll get that information to you as soon as we get done with the adjuster tomorrow.
Oh, okie dokie.
All right. Okay, the next item on the agenda is the building code update. Chris, you got
So
anything?
Kind
on
of been
that?
on my back burner, but I haven't received any emails from anybody either, or any discussion items of anything anybody would like to change or modify, including Rick or anybody from the board yet either. So, I mean, we could just adopt the code the way it is, but I figured that there would be some adjustments between. Yeah, we really need to make some adjustments to it.
Yeah, you need, excuse
And I-
me.
Yeah.
Email from Barbara, asking if we was gonna adopt that. And I didn't see that anybody had answered her.
I told her that we were considering adoption and that was a draft. And that was part of the reason I got the historic guidelines copied, because we do need to adopt the code by reference. We will also need to adopt those guidelines in the same manner, but I think that when I sent the agenda to her on Thursday, she did not know that we were in the process of updating the codes. So I told her that we were starting to consider that, and it was a draft right now. So I think we need to get her up to speed as well.
Okay,
And I
Chris,
would
do you
like-
have Barbara's email address?
Yeah, I do. And I would like to go ahead. I mean, we can get through this roof bid estimate thing first, but maybe we ought to schedule a work session where all of us and Rick and maybe even Barbara or Joan can come in and we can talk about what we would want to do. If you guys get some time, I know it's really long and really boring, but read through it, see if you guys feel anything that we need to change. I mean, it's really just a matter of everybody's opinion at this point. I would like Rick to have some time to go through it too.
Yeah,
See
yeah.
what he thinks as well, because
Yeah.
it's a very, very lengthy code and it's very, very strict on certain things. And yeah, I mean, I would like to make some adjustments myself.
Hey, Chris,
Okay.
real quick question. I apologize. Did you, forgive me, has this been circulated to us?
Yes, it has been, along with Idaho Springs and Georgetown's. I
that
believe
was-
Tammy's still probably got the email if we need to send it back out.
So it was a couple weeks ago, maybe?
Yeah, it's about a month ago, I feel.
Month ago. All
A
right.
week before the last meeting.
Thank
Yeah.
you, thank you. So my only thought is, one, I apologize. I'll look at it personally. But Chris,
I understand.
I think it's really worthwhile because of the cost of Barbara and Joe to maybe have a working session with Rick before talking
Mhm.
to them.
I agree with that.
If that works.
Yeah, 100%. And like I said, we can get through this roof estimate thing to begin with, but now that it's back on everyone's radar, maybe everyone try to read some of it, see what you think, and jot down some of your points on it. And I'll try to get a hold of Rick tomorrow and see if he's even had a chance to look at it yet. And then in that email, there's also the Idaho Springs version of it and the Georgetown version.
Yeah, I remember this now, Chris. I apologize.
No, not a problem. There's a lot going on, guys.
Okay, when you get to the point that you're ready to put together a work session with the board, let me know and we'll schedule that.
Let's get through Friday and we can go ahead and jump on this.
Okay, sounds good.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah.
Thanks, Chris.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chris.
Okay. Sarah, I'll let you handle this next one, the personnel review for the next period.
Okay, quick update, and Sam, just fill in where I leave off. Tammy actually provided us with the update on her behalf. We are in the process of working with both Tammy and Tay in regards to setting up kind of the next review period, as we did with the 3-month period before Lee transitioned to Sam. And so we, as Tammy indicated, Sam and I met with her last week, and we did a good first go on a set of priorities that she and we think are reasonable. We have established that we're going to kind of do a tight time frame review for both Tammy and Tay. So we'll do a month review period this go round. And we're hoping to start that around the 15th of June, but we will be able to update that time frame after Sam and I meet with Tay on the 11th, Thursday this week. But so we got a good start on what Tammy and we're thinking about for her next set of kind of tasks to accomplish over the next month. So that would be say June 15 to July 15 as a time period. We are going to sit down with Tay after assessing where she is on the 11th and see if that time frame works for her as well, of course, and identify a collection of tasks or goals that we and she think are appropriate for the next month's period to the 15th of July. Of course, all of this will be presented to the board as a draft for the board's input and confirmation on what we and the staff members identify or modify based on board input as a collection of tasks for each individual to strive for in the month period. And so we hope to have more of a concrete update for all of you folks in the near term, noting that we're going to talk with Tay on the 11th. We've already talked with Tammy. We've got a draft going there. We kind of want to do the review period concurrently. So both Tay and Tammy at the same time to be organized and efficient about the whole process. So we will have an update soon. That is the status report as it is now. Also just to be aware that we're following the guidance that was established through consultation with our attorneys, sometime back before Sam became mayor. But I think, and Sam certainly weigh in here, I think we understand the importance of continuing the approach, the process, and maintaining the framework of advancing the review of our staff and helping them to understand and us to understand from them the best use of their time on behalf of the town and the town residents. So I'm going to stop there real quick, Sam, see if you want to add to that, modify anything that I might have said.
I think you covered it pretty good, Sarah. Are there any questions or comments on what Sarah had to say?
I have a question. It's kind of not related. Do we have a contract of some sort with Niall as to how long he's going to continue working on the roads and whatever else?
It's not really a contract. My verbal agreement with Niall is that he's going to work on them as long as we need him to, and kind of under my guidance. And
okay,
that in my mind will go on until Tay's ready to come back to work and take over her job.
Yeah, good, Sam. And
okay,
Kathy,
thank you.
Kathy, also what I might add to that is that part of the nature of our conversation with Tay, as Tay is aware, of course she's on with us here, is to just check in on how she's doing, establish, just clarify what her timeline is going to be,
Okay.
back to full-time employ. And so we will be circling back to you folks with more information on that after we have that conversation with her, so that we have a more tangible kind of sense of how long now might be assisting and that sort of thing. So we appreciate the patience and flexibility of everybody understanding the current circumstances, but hope to have a more concrete, tangible time frame to be working with in the near future.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Sarah.
This is Frank.
And Sam.
Yeah, go ahead, Frank.
Okay, while we're on performance, I have a question. Where are we with this computer thing, and whose responsibility is to get it done as far as this Chromebook or whatever we're working with now?
It's Tay's the one working on it, and she's ordered some that will work better than the other one. The other ones have been returned, and the new ones should be here within a few days, and she'll get them set up, and we hope to have them to you before the next meeting.
Okay, good. When this does occur, could some kind of an update, when this happens, could someone give kind of an update to us all? Because I'm still holding fire.
I will.
Okay. Okay, thanks.
Yep.
And Sasha, did you have a question?
No, I didn't. Thank you.
Okay.
Okay. I skipped a number on the agenda here. I want to go back a little bit. Tammy's already given her staff update. I'd like to give just a little bit of an update on the public works. Niall's been getting quite a bit of work done on the roads in town, and got some of the signs put up. I had Tammy order, what was it, 3 loads of road base, Tammy?
We actually had 6.
Six loads of road base to use to fill holes and straighten out the roads. I think he's done a fantastic job. We're going to keep working on them, and I haven't been up in your area, Frank. Has he made it up there to do any work yet?
Yes, he has, and it's very helpful.
All right.
Good work.
Okay. Let's move on to number 6, the tree removal on Trustees and Cherokee Streets. We've already talked about this some. where should we go with that?
I would like to see it done, and then as soon as is possible, deal with whose fiscal responsibility it is, just to, one, for public safety, and two, to maybe need the services of our attorneys even more. So that would be a double fiduciary whammy.
I would also suggest that we do not go out with chainsaws with a volunteer crew and start whacking on that tree. We need professional tree people to handle this thing.
Absolutely. It's not one that we're going to be able to handle ourselves. And
yeah,
if it was, I'd have been the first one out there whacking on it with a chainsaw. But
could I
I've got a chainsaw.
Go ahead, Sasha. Go ahead.
Tammy, I'm sorry, I didn't hear who you had contacted about tree removal outside of Excel.
I called Lamb Tree Service in Evergreen.
Could we maybe also put a call in to I think it's Alvarado Road tree removal. I may have their number if you can't find them, but I know that they did a lot of the tree removal up 103, where there were those gigantic cottonwoods up against the lines.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure it's Alvarado Road tree removal, and they're out of Alvarado Road. They're off the frontage road between Empire and Georgetown, I think, is where they live.
Okay, I will try to find them.
If I'll try and find their contact information too, but I know that they've worked with Excel on tree removal things on 103 specifically. So they might be a good contact point as well.
Okay, I was really hopeful that maybe Excel would come and remove it and that we wouldn't have to pay for it.
If we call a Splenda too, they might be able to expedite the service a little bit quicker through Excel, because it is, if it's in an easement and it's affecting power lines, Excel will usually just come up and handle it, and that's who they send up as a Splenda. So it might be worth a call to them just to throw it on their
They're
radar.
in the area a lot.
So just call them directly?
Yeah, and they would probably at least point you in the right direction to work with Excel if that's what they want you to do. I mean, it just might be somewhere to start.
Okay.
That would be
I
good.
think that getting the in with Excel is what we want.
Yeah.
We don't want to have to pay for this, and I don't think we will because of what damage it would cause you, the utilities, but I'm not 100% sure on that.
Yeah.
Okay, so the next step would be to get a hold of Excel.
No, it's what Chris said.
A Splenda or Excel. I'd call it Splenda first just to see where they point you. Like if they give you, just say call Excel, then call Excel. But maybe try there first to see if they have a quicker way to expedite it. I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah, they have a good
Right.
relationship.
So Chris, are you saying Esplenda like in the dietary sugar?
No, they're orange
Like
trucks. I have
Splenda, it's
their names.
I don't even want to try to spell it, but I know it's pronounced like
ASPLUNDH.
He might be right.
Thank you.
Yes, they've been over here
And
on
they're here all the
for like
time.
4
So
days.
They do almost all of Excel's contracting work for cutting it off, and they're up here all the time in Silver Plume.
Yep.
So
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. The Tammy talk.
Yes.
Okay, Tammy, you have their information?
I will get it. I will give them a call.
Okay, appreciate it.
one thing I'd like to say before we skip over it completely, the camera thing on Town Hall that says Tay's name next to it. One thing we can look at if we're looking at putting cameras at Town Hall is what we did up there at the water treatment plant, and we used Kirkham, Jeff Kirkham. He's doing it. He's local. I would recommend that maybe we do that because it is a licensed, insured, and warranty program if we're looking at doing something like that in a local company as well. And we've already done work with them. He's installed all the cameras up there at the water treatment plant for us.
And they do troubleshooting, which is important.
And Lee's still best friends with Jeff Kirkham, so I'm sure he would get us hooked back up into that, where Jeff would come up and give us a bid for it.
I have
He
his,
over his broken neck?
Yeah, he
don't-
was doing, I saw him the other day and he's doing much better.
Excellent.
maybe it's worth
Excellent.
His
a call.
range of motion, it still isn't very good, but he's definitely on the mend.
who's that?
Great. Thank you.
Jeff Kirkham?
Oh dear, he broke his neck.
Yeah.
Oh dear.
Oh, God.
I
So I
saw him
would
at
like
Safeway
to-
with the neck brace and a mask.
Anyways, I would like to see a local company at least get a shot at it, and a company we've used before.
Okay,
Yep.
Yep.
all right.
Do you want to wait on that till we do the wallpaper bid, or do you want me to call him and see if he'll put a bid together?
I say call them and put a bid together just so we have it ready to go.
Okay.
Do
Yeah.
we need a motion for that? Or can we just ask Tammy to do it?
I move we approve to let Tammy call Jeff Kirkham for a bid on cameras at Small Town Hall.
Second.
Aye.
All in favor?
Aye.
Agreed.
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. So let's move on. We're done with new business. We'll go to old business. Short-term rental ordinance update. Pretty much already got it from Rick. We're working on it. I think we've got a real good ordinance coming together on it. I'm hoping by the next board meeting we'll have it ready to present to the board to have you look it over, and that I think it's going to be good. That's about all I got to say on that right now. Did everybody get the email that I sent out with the vehicle inspections?
Yes.
Yes.
Thank
Yes.
you.
And I read every word, Sam.
Okay.
That's one hell of a list.
The biggest things that I've seen on it, just glancing over it, and I haven't had a chance to look over it real close yet, but the main thing that I've seen that's going to be a big expense is basically the whole front end of the dump truck needs to be rebuilt.
Yeah.
I've talked a little bit with Chris about it, and he agrees that the truck is worth fixing. It would cost more to replace it than what it would to fix the problems with it. So I think the next step is to go through that list and figure out what we need to send out to have repaired, and then we should get some bids on it. Looking at the list on that little Mazda pickup, I don't know that one's worth making the repairs to it that it needs to make it safe.
Might be worth just donating that vehicle for a tax write-off for the town at least.
Yeah.
CPR.
Maybe Niall wants it.
I do have one question. In looking over the list, sorry. Niall is very mechanically inclined. Are there things that he can do as maintenance on these vehicles while we are taking advantage of his services? Are these some things that we can add to his list, or I would just like to make the most of what we've got going on at the moment. So if there are things that he can do while he's working for us, I would like to take advantage of that. But again, it's not my line of work. Chris, please, and Sam, interject.
I think it would be useful to
That'd be a
use
good idea
Niall
to get
for,
Niall to do what he can do.
and I don't know how much he wants to be wrenching on vehicles, but maybe we can use him for that. I also don't want to burn him out
Right.
with stuff
Right.
like that if that's not what he wants to be doing for us. because I already do know he doesn't want to be doing what he's doing to begin with, but he's being very nice in doing what he's doing for us right now. But yeah, I think it's worth an ask to see if he would be interested in doing any of it at least. There is quite the list. I would think the dump truck would be the first thing that we would probably want to get into order, then following the plow truck, and whether we're going to be using that plow truck for another year, contracting out, or buying a new truck, that's a decision the town needs to make. But either way, the dump truck, I feel, is something that we need to keep an asset as the town. It's used a lot. Let's get that one fixed. We didn't get one on the backhoe. I didn't know if he was going to do an inspection on that.
I'm gonna do the backhoe myself, and I just haven't got around to it yet. I'll try and get it here this week or maybe this next weekend and get that list to you.
Great. And that was my primary question, Sam and Chris. The other thing I would say is that I'd love Niall, if he's interested, to do what he's willing to do. And my only concern with that is making sure that we are tight about updating the assessment list based upon what he accomplishes, so that we don't waste money redoing what Niall might have done. So it's more of a logistical documentation concern than it is anything else. I'd love to give Niall the work if he's interested.
Yes, I would too. And if Niall isn't, I'd be glad enough to. I would say we need to take it off in bites on this list. Do the front end, some wiring, or whatever we need to do if we're going to go ahead and look for bids to do that. I would still do the thing that I did earlier with the town board. I'd keep you at the same rate that I have been if I ended up doing bids towards it and using myself. But either way, I would rather use Niall if we can.
Would it be acceptable to maybe turn this email into a tick sheet and give it to Niall and just say, hey, this is what we've established needs to be happened. Are you interested in doing any of these things? And then we have written record of what he's agreed to do and what has been done, and then can go to other sources and say, hey, these are the other things on our list. Would that be agreeable and make sense?
I can do that. Another thing I'd like to do, I just got these lists myself when I sent them out to you. So I'd like to take some time and go through them and identify the safety issues, the ones that need to be done to make the vehicles safe, and make those our top priority, and then go down the list from there. I agree with Chris that the dump truck should probably be the first one to get attention. The front end on it is pretty close to the point of being dangerous.
It is. And we should probably not be using that piece of equipment until we get these issues resolved.
Right.
So I have another quick question when appropriate.
Okay, go ahead, Sarah.
So again, Sam, just looking at the detailed list provided, which I really appreciate, and can only guess at what most of it means. But part of what I understand as safety concern is the air quality in the cab environment of, well, most of the vehicles the town has. And so I didn't see, I see information about exhaust, ribbing, etc. What I don't see, because I don't know what to look for, is whether and how the air quality in the cab, and I know you haven't done the backhoe yet, Sam, but how that's monitored, as it might be tied into, like an old car I used to have, the exhaust was scooting into the interior of the car, and it was causing mild asphyxiation problems on the inside of the car. So how do we measure that aspect of safety of utilizing the vehicles?
Anything that you see on there that has to do with exhaust is going to affect air quality in the cab, and that's the way to assure that good air quality is to make sure the exhaust is good.
Okay.
So
Okay.
that's one of the safety items that'll be put at the top of the list on all of them.
Good, it's being covered. Okay, got it.
All right.
I think when we, back in the fall, we took that white plow truck down to Silver City there in Idaho Springs, and we did ask them to specifically check the exhaust and make sure we didn't have any leaks going into the cab.
Right, Tammy, and as I recall, we also pulled the truck out of their care prematurely. And when I checked with Lee on whether or not they had actually done that work, it was unclear. So I just
Okay.
want to be
Well,
clear that service was not completed as I understood it. So
maybe we can find if we have a receipt from them.
We did.
should. If they stated on the receipt they did it or not.
yeah. And good, Chris. And I asked that question as well. I seem to recall that the receipt was not explicit about that. So I just think it's an open question, and I just want to be a board member that says, let's make sure that we're checking that particular issue.
I agree with
do
that.
Could I ask, I don't know much about this. Is that part of emissions testing and things like that needs to take place for our insurance? Or is
We
this a
don't
completely separate? I know we don't have emissions testing, but yeah. Will you tell me, Chris, how this happens, that you find out if there's exhaust in your car?
like Sam said, you check everything to see if the exhaust is sealed on the exhaust part itself. It has nothing to do with the emissions. Your emissions testing isn't testing that necessarily. It's all EVAP and everything else. One thing we can do as a town, we can just, it's something we've done at the shop to find out if we had an exhaust leak inside a vehicle, is we can let the vehicle run for a certain amount of time outside, just idling, and we can actually put one of those in-home meters. That's your CO2 meter that warns you if you've got too much going on in your house. It does the same thing if it's inside your vehicle. So if that meter is going off saying you have too much inside the cab of the vehicle, then it's unsafe for it to do it. If that doesn't do that, then obviously the exhaust isn't getting into the cab. It's the same thing as a house. So it's a cheap way to do it. You want to let your vehicle run for an hour or so, or drive it around, or whatever you want to do, to try to get it as hot and expel as much exhaust as it can to see if it is doing anything. But that would be a cheap way for the town to know if it is and be certain on it. Because I know that is something that's been brought up before, and I would like to know if the truck is leaking or not, and that being the plow truck in specific.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. I just didn't understand how that goes.
It's hard to do measuring inside the cab, but that is one thing that every mechanic that I've ever talked to does, is they just put one of those meters inside of it.
It would at least give us a metric.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, so I'll go through and prioritize the list. The safety issues, of course, first, and I'll send that out to everybody, and then we'll decide how we want to proceed as far as getting estimates or bids on doing the repairs. And I'll show Niall the list also and see if he's interested in doing any of it.
Sounds good to me.
Sounds good.
Okay.
Yep.
Mayor and committee reports, I think we've already.
Where is the food bank on the list? Is that?
Yeah, we need a quick update.
I'm
Okay,
sorry,
well,
Marty, I forgot
that's
that.
all right.
Go ahead.
No big issue. We're shutting it down. Last week we had 4 people come in, plus I put together something for our postal person so that she would get what she needed. Basically, the services are not being utilized enough to justify keeping it open. What will happen is the folks who are doing the distribution or making the delivery will come up and take the perishable items. In conjunction with the CIRSA inspection, I would like, if they look in their they're going to be horrified because we have a pile of cardboard, and I assume that that's a significant violation. Just inform them that that has been addressed at the town board meeting, and we'll be removing that cardboard as soon as possible. I went down and helped unload from the trucks, plural, that came up with food from Denver, the Colorado Food Bank folks, and there's an astonishing amount of stuff in the Elks Hall. We can try and figure out if someone is in need, some way of working it out to help them out with that. And if necessary, given the exposure of the last week or so, there is a spike in COVID cases and a renewed need for the food bank. We can certainly start that up again on very short and without any real problems. And if there are any questions and I can answer them, let me know. But I think I've covered what I got to cover. But I would like to organize a quick flatten the cardboard and get it the hell out of there as soon as possible.
We can utilize the dumpsters over at my shop for all that cardboard too.
Okay, great. And so basically, and it'll be a lot less impressive once they're all flattened. I mean, right now it's just astonishing.
Just let me know when you want to do that, and I can give a hand with that.
Okay, great.
Truck over to help haul it away.
Okay.
I think I'll go over there tomorrow, Chris. I talked to a couple people that are moving. They want some boxes. So they're going to grab them first thing in the morning, and then whatever's left after noon, I think we can just haul away. If you're available, that'd be awesome.
Yeah, and I'm available tomorrow. Yeah, I can come over and help too. So I think that'll do it. Although those boxes probably are not in great shape, kind of. And I have boxes if people need them. I can help them with that.
I'll come by about 12:30.
12:30 sounds good for me.
So, real quick, if someone inquires about food, should they continue to call Sasha, or do we refer them to the Elks Lodge?
I would. Go ahead, Sash.
To the county. And then they can, the county will direct them to the nearest delivery or pickup location.
Okay, so is Idaho Springs still doing their food banking?
Yes, as is Georgetown.
Okay, that's what I needed to know. Thank you.
Thank you. People are more than welcome to call me too, but that's the information that I will have to give.
All right, thank you, Sasha.
Thank you, Tammy.
Okay, end of the agenda. The only thing left is administrative items and mayor and committee reports, and I think we've heard from the only committee we have, and I've said all I got to say. Anybody else have anything?
Hey, Sam.
I would like to see someone, excuse me, who can do that transport committee meeting, since I just can't do it anymore. The one that meets once a month on Wednesday to put together and implement transportation updates and resources to get folks to focal points, be it either El Rancho or Bergen Park, so they can get to Denver, as well as maximizing the ability of folks to access some sort of public transportation within the county. And if anyone is interested, they can contact John Bryan at the county, because he's kind of running that show. And there are a lot of stakeholders that are from within the county, and that committee has done a lot of excellent work. So if we can get a representative to them, they meet. It's on a Wednesday at 10:30 in the morning, so I'm not sure which Wednesday.
I'm interested in that, just because I'm trying to work with the county commissioners on the transportation stuff also.
Okay.
So that might be a good crossover for me.
Sure. Like I say, John Bryan he's done a marvelous job, and he's running the show, and the only thing I will repeat, as soon as they get the new bus, there will be prospector services direct going up to Silver Plume, and you won't have to call. They'll be on the schedule.
We'll be on the route.
We will be on the route. That was a promise that was made, and we're just waiting for the new bus to appear and be ready to be put into service.
Is there any?
And again,
Marty,
go ahead.
sorry, just is there any anything the town / the board needs to do to recognize your transferring to Sasha's responsibility?
I already told them. I already informed them that it's just more than I can handle right now, and that we will try and get someone else to be part of the committee. So at this point,
you can get the information to Sasha on how to take that over?
It's basically just calling John Bryan, and I've supplied the information. That's it. I'm sure you have. He's in the office right next to Beth.
Yeah, and the town should just have that record. That's all I'm saying. Whatever appropriate transfer that is.
I can send them an email, and I can send Sasha the last agenda meeting notice that they had.
That sounds perfect.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you for doing that.
Thank you, Sasha.
Yeah, and Marty, thank you for having done.
You're welcome. It was a pleasure. They're good people there.
Does anybody else have anything?
Sam, I have a quick, silly little thing, but folks might know of something. The town postmistress Carol and her family are looking for a rental in Silver Plume with some urgency. She's got 2 kids, husband and wife, no animals. And so if anybody has any leads on potential folks that she could speak with, I'm happy to either speak with her directly, or I'm happy to take suggestions. I just want to put that out there.
Thanks.
They said they can do about $1,600 a month is their top end for rent.
Yes. So I'm gonna talk with Fritz and Cynthia about rent to buy, but any other more reasonable setting would be great.
Tom Roach said they're going to try to put gas into that one on the corner there at Madison and rent that out long term. So I will give a call to him and see if they're still planning to do that.
That would be super, Tammy. Thanks.
I've also sicked Griffin on it because that's a thing.
Cool.
I have one quick question just before we go. Before I meet with the commissioners about this coronavirus relief stuff, are there any questions other than what Sarah brought up about utility relief and things like that that anybody would like me to present to them?
Well, not really present to them, but maybe the board needs to be thinking about the fact that we need to get some permanent signs printed up so that we can be compliant. We need to decide what we're going to do about our park, if it's going to be open or closed. If it's going to be open, it needs to get inspected every month. And we've got a list of repairs from last year that I don't think we got to. And then the question of who will open and close the bathrooms and clean them. With the county roads being open right after our last meeting, we didn't have a chance to discuss, the little logistics of what are we going to do about allowing kids in the park if we're not inspecting it and making sure that it's safe and et cetera.
Okay. Tammy, maybe you and I can try and get together in the next couple of days, just really quickly. And maybe you and Tay, if she's available, can make just a little tick sheet of things that we think are important and could warrant us getting some more of this money, if that would work for you.
Okay, I'll try to make some time to pull a list together. I don't really fully understand, the specific notices and public signage that we're required to be putting up. I need to do a little research into that. And truthfully, I haven't had the time to go back and get some of these things done. So I'm not sure when I could get to that. It's just something we need to be thinking about.
Okay.
We do
Yeah.
have bathrooms at the Green Solution, so that's a blessing. And I also have one community service person that Sam referred to me, and I think she could be put to work down there, just getting it cleaned up and removing tree limbs and picking up dog waste and getting it mowed maybe. But I really haven't
Okay.
talked with Tay about a schedule or an actual firm opening date. But with more people coming up and more kids out, it's going to start becoming an issue. At least maybe getting it cleaned up and do an inspection real quick to see what's.
Yeah.
And in
Well, let me
in
just
that
go ahead, Marty. Sorry.
and in keeping with that, I'd still like to get those signs on the dumpsters, especially the one at the park with the increased traffic. Thank you for reminding me about that. By order of the town of Silver Plume on the sign, which says no construction debris. And Sam, once we can get that other dumpster over there, I think that would help also. That the one we looked at.
Okay.
But until that time, let's see if we can get that bumper sticker. And so by order of the town of Silver Plume, maybe it'll make a little bit more impact on folks. And Kathy would know, has there been any more construction dumping in there as far as you know?
It's pretty consistent. If there's room to dump things, it fills up every week.
Maybe a measure would be to get one of those big yellow smiley faces that says, "Smile, you're on candid camera."
Well, we talked about Gary Regis doing something of setting up a camera, and I don't know. I will maybe something. I think that's a great idea. But I think also I'd like to reiterate, if possible, and you're comfortable with it, get license plates of these dumbasses, these louts, these exploiters of resources to the detriment of the fine citizens of this town.
We noticed they drive. If you're out there, they drive by and then come back later. And so,
Okay.
people are just too smart. But the trash can you and Sam were just talking about, is it a little bigger? Because we just walked the dog down there, and there are some bear cans that are kind of better quality than the one we have, and they open differently. And perhaps if they're just a little bit bigger, I don't know.
The one that I was telling you about is to the right as you go from east to west, and you'll see it as a slanted door on top with two hatch-like openings that would preclude any large items from going in, such as construction waste. If that's,
that might be enough.
I've come over a couple of times, but I couldn't find you, so to show it to you.
But
that would be the one. It's right around in that little yard.
So you guys?
Yeah.
Yes.
Just as a concrete action, Marty, your good suggestion about posting by order of the town. Do we still have any of those stickers remaining? And if we do, who's got access to them and who's going to do it?
The last I heard was that they were given to Tay, and we've only used 3 of them. I don't know whether that's the case, but we've only used 3 of them or 4 of them for the road closure signs, and I think there were 30.
I will check with Tay and get them from her.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, no, that'd be great. And the other thing I quickly want to clarify is, Tammy, you referenced some kind of an inspection process or something that I'm not aware of. I don't think we have a formal process for inspecting the park? What was
Well,
the term you used?
we do have an inspection process, and we need to get that going. I've given the inspection report forms to Tay, and there is some protocol and a checklist for doing the park inspections. They're supposed to be done on a monthly basis, and we have a repair list also from SURSA from last year.
Starting next week, I'll be off at the railroad on Mondays, so I'll be able to take care of stuff like that. I plan on my Mondays being my day to take care of town business, so
Yeah, yeah. And
I can do that.
And Sam, I just want to add, I'm sure Tay would be happy to do this. I guess when I've talked with her and looked at her job description, I wasn't sure that that was a specific in her job description. So I'm sure she'd be happy to do this kind of inspection. So,
and I'm sure she would. I'm just talking about until she comes back to work fully.
Okay.
Just
Good.
covering the base until she's back to work.
Cool. And I just want to be clear that this is I appreciate that, Sam. One, I don't want you to personally, you are doing so much. And yes, it'd be great if you took this on in the short term. I just don't want you to assume the responsibility. It's something that we should explicitly add to Tay's job description if we want her to do it regularly. And Tammy, I never knew there was such a thing. So, you know, for you to bring it up like it's an anticipated thing is, you know, it's a little disingenuous. I think we need to be straightforward about if this is something that's part of Tay's responsibility, let's be clear about it and add it to her responsibilities. I personally was not aware that this was one of the duties for which she was responsible. So I thank you for bringing it to my attention, and I forgive I ask people to forgive me if for some reason it's something that I've missed and everybody else understood.
Okay, Miss Sarah. Just a little background. Maybe if you talk with Tay, she remembers some of the information I gave her regarding that. And we listed it on the board in the boardroom and talked about it a couple of times, but we never actually got back to doing the inspections. The last one we probably had was done by Brooks.
Okay, okie dokie, good. Thank you,
But
Tammy.
we do need to get them going because we've got kind of a little, you know, there's things that fall into disrepair and things get left in the park that shouldn't be there. So we do have a responsibility to at least kind of patrol it and make sure that it's safe for the general.
My bad, Tammy. I was not.
I'm sorry.
Paying attention.
I sometimes get used to people being on the board and not realize that you don't deal with that every day. So it's okay. I will make sure that I get the information copied and get it out if she needs it again.
And give me you say there's a list from SURSA of stuff that needs to be done. Can you get that to me, please?
Yes, I will. Could I make one favor of Kathy Grubbs?
Yeah.
There is a light pole on Anderson's side of the parking lot. Did they get that working?
The light pole that used to be by the bench, the way cool little bench.
No, there's an XL pole on the right side of the parking lot. I'm thinking of looking at the park. It's on Ann Anderson's side.
Okay. Okay, that light comes on and off at will, so it might be haunted, but other than that, when you're walking down the street, it's not a motion detector light, but yeah, you'll be kind of close to it and it goes off, and then by the time you walk down a little bit farther, it comes back on again, and it does it all night long.
Okay.
And so it's special.
We got a lot of those in town.
Yeah, and there's also a wire hanging down on that pole that's been hanging down there for like, I don't know, a year, 2 years?
Couple years?
Yeah. And that
also,
wire probably should be taken care of at some point in time too.
There's also a light at the very end of Main Street on the opposite side of the street from you. wondering if you would mind next time you're out, if it's dark, to see if that one is also maybe working or not working. I've
At
been,
the end of Main Street down toward the plant,
yeah, down
okay,
just beyond Charles Schwab.
okay, just beyond Charles' house. Okay,
Yep, I've been trying to get them to fix them for at least a year now, so I'm not up there in the dark anymore, really.
so who's responsible for fixing those?
That is Excel. They charge us for the street lights, and
Ah,
when they're burned out, I take the numbers off the pole, and those numbers tell them where to go and fix them, but they have not.
okay, so the one right by the park, by Dinger Park, is not burned out. It just
It needs to
comes
be,
on and off when it wants to. Yeah.
yeah, it needs a new bulb in it. That means it's getting ready to go out.
Oh,
It's been doing that for over a year, so
yeah, but it's really, when I was walking to the board meetings, I'd walk home and just as you were getting close to it, it would go off and it'd be like, oh, we have no moon tonight. But yeah, it has
I'll
a
call them again.
personality, so maybe we don't want to change it because it has this special personality. But in the
Right.
park, where the little bench was, that I'm assuming somebody put someplace for the winter, that light pole is very sad. The top has been broken off. You know, it's completely pretty much a goner.
The
And I
other
don't know how-
day, it was just laying there, so I think we need to get it out of there.
It's
'cause
now
It's
standing
vertical
up.
now at least, but
Yeah, but it doesn't have a
has
light on
been.
the top of it.
No, I know.
Right.
We talked about that, I think, months and months ago, so.
And I think that is now, I think the little lights that were wrapped around the trees that were kind of cute, I think those are pretty much either
Yeah, they look a
weather-wise or
little
whatever are gone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and not that we
Yeah.
want to spend more time on this, folks. I realize it's 9:25 or 26, whatever, 21. I'm just looking at the job description for the Public Works Director, and it definitely needs an addition to it to address park responsibilities, because I don't see anything specific to that. So that's something that, I think should be an action item, just being straight. For those who are critical of, what our staff does, I think we need to be more explicit with this particular staff member, what we anticipate in regards to the park.
Yeah, and I think with that, we need a list based off the list that Tammy has of those things that need inspecting so that, it's a consistent thing. And then the difference between what gets inspected or if it doesn't get inspected at all on those months when there's so much snow in the park that it's not really used.
Exactly. So just to be clear, this is all great conversation and input, but for anybody who's, evaluating performance based on park related activities, I think we need to be fair and just make sure that the job description matches what the board's expectations are and the staff expectations are. So just to put it out there.
And
Thank you,
just
sir.
FYI, Kathy, the bench has been put in the hose cart house right between
okay.
your house and the museum. Lee and I took that in last year before winter, so.
We need to
That's,
add to, I forgot who was on very, very beginning.
Chuck and Ann Jedley.
Yes, the windows in the hose cart house
Yes.
still have broken glass to the
And there
point
are
that
replacement windows in the building too that
Right.
can be used to make it easier, yeah.
Yeah, we just
Good.
need to replace like two or three panes of that glass, hopefully from those windows or something. We discussed that last year. But with the rain and the snow and stuff, it's probably, the hole in the window is now probably large enough that we're getting snow and rain into the hose cart house.
Yes. The hose cart windows and the windows getting painted at the Methodist Church were supposed to be a community service person, and that never got done last summer. So
with his list,
List.
maybe, I don't know. I guess we need to decide who's going to look at his list and add to it or subtract from it and
Prioritize.
Yeah, prioritize it. And I didn't take
So-
note.
I'm
quick-
sorry, Sarah.
Oh, Sash, go ahead.
I just have one quick question. I know other municipalities have had to have health department checks to reopen their public restrooms. Is that something that we need to schedule? Tammy, do you know? Just
No
for
idea.
making plans for reopening our park and our bathrooms, if we have to have porta potties, if we have to have. I just want to make sure that we're compliant with the state and that whoever is going to be responsible for it is set up for success as we are supposed to be. If you don't have an answer to that right now, that's fine, but just as we move forward, if that's something we can consider, please.
Yes, I will give them a call and find out what we need to do.
Thank you.
Okay, and if I may, I have to go because you can hear someone is telling me she needs to go to the exterior of my house. So
the outhouse.
Thank you all. Unless there's something critical that needs to be addressed, which I certainly would wait for, I'm gonna
I think
prioritize my
we lost
dog's
Sam. I
well-being.
think his phone died.
Yeah, I think maybe
we're
we
good.
should put the park and stuff on the next agenda then, because there's
Okay.
also a question in my mind about what is Peeps and what is Silver Plume, especially with the museum not opening.
Yep,
Was done with anything real constructive.
sounds good. Will do. All righty.
Okay.
All right.
Take care,
you.
Sam. You guys, Sam just called and said he apologized. He got disconnected. So he asked that I do whatever we need to do to close the meeting. And so I want to do that. And Tammy, just real quick, can you make sure that Sam and I get notes you took on additional park responsibilities so we can make sure to chat with Tay about them?
Yes, I will.
That's great. So anyway, are there any additional comments from anybody before we kind of wrap things up and adjourn the meeting?
I'm good.
No, thank you.
I just have two things for next time's agenda, and one would be Marty's bear bins and what the status of those are. And then the park and just a follow-up discussion with the park that we just started tonight.
I would agree.
That sounds great, Kathy. That sounds great. Any other comments, folks?
I move we adjourn.
Woo! I'll take a
Second.
second to
I
that.
second Frank.
All righty.
I think Diamond already is probably moving.
Are there any, all in favor, please?
Aye.
Aye.
Yes, thank you.
And anybody who does not agree with the ayes, you're dead.
Yeah. You'll be on this Zoom all by yourself.
You're no friend of mine.
Thanks.
I'll see you tomorrow, Sasha. Thanks, guys.
Good night.
Yeah, thanks, Chris. See you tomorrow.
Thanks,
Yeah,
Tay.
thank you all.
Thank you, Tammy. Thank you, Sarah. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Tay.
Bye.
Good
Bye.
night.